is going on, guys? JD from New York here. This is Off the Script, and this is your AEW Dynamite review for Wednesday, June 10th, 2020. An excellent episode of AEW Dynamite tonight. We had Cody making his second title defense against one of my boys, one of the House of Glory faithful, I should say. One of our boys from House of Glory, Marq Quen of Private Party. TNT Championship title match in the main event. Cody successfully defended the TNT Championship against Jungle Boy, who MJF said should not get a TNT Championship title match. That was in the main event of last week's Dynamite. After defeating Lance Archer at Double or Nothing, you guys know the story about that one. How did Cody's second title defense go? We will talk about it tonight. Chuck Taylor, Trent, and Orange Cassidy, or I should say, Blood Orange Cassidy, are scheduled to face the Inner Circle tonight. Jake Hager, Santana, and Ortiz. They are the best. Cassidy had a confrontation with the Inner Circle and Chris Jericho on last week's episode, so that's how that came to be. The in-ring debut of FTR, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler, formerly The Revival. They will be making their in-ring debut against the Butcher and the Blade. The Butcher and the Blade confronted FTR at the conclusion of a sit-down with Tony Schiavone last week on Dynamite. Sammy Guevara in action tonight against Colt Cabana. The story with Colt Cabana is that the Dark Order is courting Mr. Colt Cabana. Will he join the Dark Order after some frustration in the ring? And then Hikaru Shida, the AEW Women's Champion, she will team with Kris Statlander against Nyla Rose and Penelope Ford. And then Jericho on commentary tonight. And Jesse is here with me. And I think the most important thing tonight, buddy, is Justin fucking Roberts was back on Dynamite tonight. I couldn't be happier. I missed him.
Man, where has he been? But you know what? Who really cares, man? He didn't announce Moxley tonight. So.
Oh, he didn't. Moxley was getting his head thrown into a driver, the passenger side window.
They killed him. They killed Moxley, man. He's gone.
Awesome. He's already injured. He got fucking destroyed tonight by Brian Cage. We will cover that as well on the show. So thank you guys so very much for joining me, and us, I should say, on Off the Script. Make sure you guys follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys for live tweeting with me tonight. I did tune into NXT on the commercial breaks here and there during Dynamite, and I see that NXT's they're stealing ideas from me. So we'll talk about that tomorrow on the live stream with NXT going live on YouTube on Off the Script tomorrow. I don't want to really dive into WWE stuff. I'll have some cretin in the comment section saying, this is an AEW podcast. And yeah, I know nobody appreciates that. Jesse, don't even watch fucking WWE anymore, so screw it. No. So make sure you guys check that out tomorrow. And thank you guys for following me on social media, Instagram and Twitter. Also, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. As always, very important. The more you subscribe, you got the best in the YWC right here on Off the Script. Hit that thumbs up as well. Helps out the video in the search. And it does good things. YouTube does good things when you hit the blue thumbs up icon down below. If you want to support the podcast via Patreon, you guys can certainly do that as well. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And tonight's podcast is brought to you by my good friends over at Blue Chew. BlueChew.com. You guys can use code JD at checkout to try Blue Chew for free. But it's Wednesday, so you might not need the Blue Chew because a lot of people are excited about Wednesday night wrestling with NXT and AEW. On Monday and Friday, you might need the Blue Chew, but we'll go over them a little bit later and talk about my friends over at Blue Chew. Jesse, we start the night off with FTR. They went up against the Butcher and the Blade. Now, I was excited for FTR's in-ring debut, and they pulled up in a pickup truck, the same pickup truck that they showed up in a couple of weeks ago against the Young Bucks when they stood face-to-face with Matt and Nick Jackson. Now, Jim Ross said a lot of people were interested in FTR for all the right reasons. They were incredibly underutilized in WWE. We all know that. I mean, these guys, in my honest opinion, a part of one of the greatest tag team wrestling matches in history that I've seen with Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano at NXT TakeOver Toronto, if you remember that. So they are in AEW, and they are instantly going to take the AEW tag team division even higher than it already is. Jericho was on commentary, and you told me via text that Jericho was simply there to kind of get these guys over in front of the AEW audience. We found out later in the show that Jericho was there for more reasons than just FTR, but he said they were the hottest free agents in all of pro wrestling. They showed Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, and Shawn Spears with Jake the Snake Roberts and Lance Archer all sitting down watching this match. Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson were actually taking notes on what this match was going to provide us here on Dynamite. And then Raw said he was pleased to see the teams holding the tag team ropes and following the tag team rules. So then Jericho said, I got more notes on Jericho and what he said than the actual fucking match here. Jericho said it's like his rules because they're actually tagging as usual. And he said he was just going on and on about the Revival. Follow the rules. Follow the rules is what FTR stands for, and that's exactly what FTR wants the tag team division to do, is follow the rules, because they feel like a lot of teams like the Lucha Brothers and the Best Friends and all these other teams that are in AEW, they don't really follow the protocol of tag team wrestling. So Wheeler faked an arm injury here, and then he rolled up Butcher from behind. I really like that. Very old school and very, I would say, formulaic in the Revival standards. They used to do that in WWE quite often. And then Butcher and Blade took control of this one. Jericho said he likes this smash mouth meat and potatoes style match, and he said he would like to see it more in AEW. There's no flips or flops or flim-flams. He said just a wrestling match. He said in 2020 he likes it. So Dax eventually got a hot tag. He went to work on the Blade. He gave Blade a brain buster. Ross said Tully is certainly impressed. They kept going back and forth from the ring to what Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson were doing in the crowd. And after that, Jericho made fun of Excalibur, saying high rent district when they battled on the second turnbuckle in the corner. I hate that fucking term. I started actually using that when I was in House of Glory. No longer will I do that because Jericho deemed it uncool here on AEW. So Butcher and Blade took over on Dax. The ref signaled a tag to be made, but Ross says he didn't see it. And Excalibur said he believes the tag was made. They went back and forth there, so there was some nice chemistry there between Ross and Chris Jericho, and then Excalibur being the third wheel here on commentary. FTR gave Butcher a Good Night Express. Now, if you guys were confused about that, or if you didn't watch Dynamite, the Good Night Express is actually the Shatter Machine. So the Revival on their way out of WWE, and now FTR and AEW, they did not trademark or copyright Shatter Machine, so they lost that and renamed it the Good Night Express, which I love because it just fits them so beautifully. They delivered that, and then a stuffed pile driver called the Mind Breaker, and that was it for the match and the 3 count. They defeated the Butcher and the Blade here on Dynamite. Jesse, this was an excellent opening match. I expected nothing less from these guys, and I even said it on Twitter. The tag team division in AEW was so incredible already before these guys got here. They single-handedly have raised the bar, if you could even believe that, even higher in AEW. And this was probably the best match at this stage of the game for the Butcher and the Blade. This was the best match in all of what they have done in AEW against FTR tonight.
But they don't have the bunny.
I will get to that. That was a question that I have in my notes here, but I don't want to address it here because now the bunny is with QT Marshall.
It's so terrible. But yeah, no, man, I agree. I think that this match was very, very, very important for FTR, and I think AEW knew that, and that's why Jericho was out there just to make sure that he gets maximum value out of this debut for this tag team, because I think it's very, very important personally for FTR to make sure they succeed and prove all of their naysayers back in WWE. And I think Jericho took the reins on this from commentary just because he's a little bit more knowledgeable about what's going on with FTR, what they do, what their style is, and everything else. And he didn't want to have to worry about Ross kind of still getting adjusted to him and kind of fumbling over. He wanted to make sure that he hit home right away. The same way he got Pineapple Pete over, the same way he's going to get that Bat over, he plans on getting FTR over. That's another thing. I think FTR is going to change for whatever scenario they need it for. Right now, it's follow the rules. Next week, it'll be fuck the rules.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I told you on last week's Dynamite, where you said you didn't really like the name, and I understand you completely on why you didn't like the name. They needed something a little bit more, but now you see that it's gonna mold to them in every situation that they're in when they want it to kind of fit the role that they're in on that certain week or on a certain pay-per-view. So like you said, that's beautiful. The way you put it was beautiful. Follow the rules this week. Next week, it's going to be fuck the rules. So,
Yep.
or fuck the revolution or whatever they want to go out there and say. It's them, and they're going to make the name, FTR. They're going to make it mean whatever the fuck they want it to mean. Jericho was great on commentary. I mean, everything the guy does is fucking just brilliant. But in this instance, he was definitely out there to get them over. They were on his show, right? Everybody has the fucking introductory podcast when you leave WWE. Jericho, there you go. We got to go and talk as Jericho and talk shit. So that's exactly what the whole mantra is there. But you really didn't find out much of anything that we already didn't know on that show. So it's almost as if he knew their story better than anybody. He was already out there. One of the few things that he said that really caught my attention outside of everything else that I wrote in my notes here was we're not talking about the past. We're not here to talk about these guys and where they came from and all this other shit. We're here to talk about what these guys are going to do and what they're going to bring to AEW and move on into the future. That's what I loved. The one line that he threw out there. And you can tell, I don't know if you picked it up, man, they are just refreshed. It's like you just see it seeping off of their bodies. They are so fucking happy to just be able to just tag team wrestle. It's all they want to do. And it showed all over Harwood, and it showed all over Wheeler tonight. And I loved it. I thought it was great.
It was awesome. I don't think that Dark Order was up to their level per se. Because, I mean, it looked like they were trying to keep up, but they just couldn't keep up with these guys. I mean, but...
Oh, Butcher and Blade, you mean?
Oh, yeah. Butcher and Blade.
So many tag teams, it's all right.
Don't they kind of feel like they kind of fit right into the Dark Order, though?
A little bit, yeah.
Butcher and Blade, like, they probably end up right over there since they kind of lost their direction, since they lost the bunny.
Yes, I know. The most important aspect of their act. Listen, I'm glad they didn't come out as fucking Hot Topic models tonight like we seen last week. I was happy to see the metal version of Butcher and Blade tonight.
Yeah.
But anyway, this was great. I thought this was an excellent opener. Really needed to go out there and say, you know what? Fuck where we came from. This is what we're going to be delivering here in AEW. And they passed the test with flying colors. Shivani then interviewed the FTR guys in the ring. And they said, this is the pinnacle of tag team wrestling. And then, without any hesitation, Matt and Nick Jackson came out and interrupted. Nick Jackson was out there. He said they didn't want to be rude. They just wanted to congratulate them on a great match. Matt then said they also wanted to come out there and say thank you. He said they helped them out of a jam a couple of weeks ago, but also failed to properly introduce themselves. He said, my name is Matt, and this is my brother Nick. Now, they went on to say that they have solely been carrying the tag team division on their backs, or tag team wrestling, I should say, on their backs for the last decade and a half. We are the best team in all Elite Wrestling. We're the Young Bucks. It's so nice to finally meet you. And then out of nowhere, Butcher clotheslined the Bucks from behind. Kip Sabian and Jimmy Havoc then jumped in. Kenny Omega came running out. Hangman came fumbling out. He took his sweet-ass time with a nice double shot of Jack Daniels. And he came to the ring. They cleared the ring of the heels. with FTR, the Bucks, Kenny, and Paige just hanging out there as Butcher and Blade got dismantled on their way out. Now, I love it. This is a great visualization of what tag team wrestling is going to be in AEW, what the division's going to be. And I'm loving the fact that we have this I'm the best, you're the best type feel going on between the Bucks and FTR. But they're also not rushing to get to that match. And I believe you told me when we were watching the show together, you love how they are not rushing into the match that they know, as far as tag team wrestling goes, we all want to see. They're taking their sweet time, and when we do get it, man, oh man, it's going to be like fucking a volcano is erupting in AEW. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's all about the slow build here. We all know that this feud already started on Twitter years ago. So I like how they just don't come on over and then just book the match. Like, no. They know that they have something that we want. When we see that match, it will be the main event of a pay-per-view for the tag titles like it should be. We're not going to see that on some random episode of Dark, and so it can end in a squash match. Then we'll see it 14 more times before the pay-per-view. Not going to happen. It's going to be a slow build. We don't even know if FTR are babyface or heels yet.
No, and I like that. I love that aspect because, you know, I said it last week too, or the week before rather, when they made their debut. The fact that they debuted now, great. I wanted them to be in AEW, and I got some news on FTR in a little bit. I'm glad that they are with AEW right now, but I'm glad they didn't go all the way because when we do get that match and when we do get in that build, it's got to be in front of fucking fans. We have to hear the natural energy for a match that's been kind of built up over the last couple of years in front of a live audience. And I think Tony Khan knows that, and I know that all four of those guys know that. Why rush? Let's get things somewhat back to normal where there's a live atmosphere in a fucking arena away from Daly's place, and then let's drop it on everybody. Crowd's going to go fucking crazy.
Agreed.
Crowd's going to go crazy.
Yep.
So that's that. Now, I got the next segment here with Paige. Actually, not Paige. We got the Natural Nightmares. So many fucking tag teams. Dasha was no longer ring announcing. She is now doing the interview thing backstage. We got Justin Roberts back, like we said. And next week, it is going to be Paige and Omega defending the tag team championships against Dustin and QT Marshall. Now, QT Marshall is with Allie. Brandy Rhodes was there. She didn't really react to the news that her boys would be getting a tag team championship match. The only thing that she was concerned about is why Allie is wearing a Nightmare jacket. She's wearing the family's ring jacket. Marshall then said she's part of the family. She's my girl. Dustin asked if he knows what's at stake next week. He said he does know what's at stake. He told him he needs him in the game. He pointed to Allie and said, this right here, get it out of your system because next week she won't be at ringside with us. So clearly that means she's going to play a factor in the match. Now, again, I don't watch Dark, so I don't know what's happening here. I watched it last week because I wanted to see my boy Leroy Green from House of Glory on Dark with LAX, Santana, and Ortiz. So I wanted to watch that. But am I missing something here? A, why is Brandy acting like a bitch in this situation? B, she no-sold the news of the tag team title match. And why is it so bad that Allie has a ring jacket on? That's what I don't know. That's what I don't understand. Dustin and Brandy came off like complete assholes in this segment. I don't know what they were going for, but like I said, and like I usually say about Dark, why don't they update us on what happens on Dark or what happens on Being the Elite? Because there is a large number of the audience that is not watching those shows. So if somebody's not watching Dark and they see this, Jesse, it's going to go over their head. And did AEW even mention or have a storyline in place as to why Allie was dressed up in leather as the bunny and now is not the bunny any longer? I don't know.
I watched Dark, and I don't know why this is happening. I didn't watch it this week yet. I got tied up when it dropped. But they Look, I like Allie for what she was used for. All right. I'm not one of those guys that like just to sit here and, oh, look, she's hot. Let's look at her. No, I like how hot that she looked next to this tag team. The Nightmare family does not need Allie, and Allie does not need the Nightmare family. I think that she was doing fine, and this tag team was getting over, and she was getting over while they were together. Why she got mixed up with these guys, I don't know. I really don't know, but it's not like it's a good mix. Like you just said, I don't know why Brandy cares what Allie is doing with QT Marshall. Why does she give two shits? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe she makes him better. Maybe she actually gives him a little bit more focus and makes him a little bit more happier. I don't know.
Here's my concern. I think it's going to lead to a match between Allie and Brandy.
God, I hope not.
See?
God, I hope not.
See, that's the problem. So I don't know. I think the Bunny was doing awesome with Butcher and Blade. I mean, they had a gimmick. They had an ambiance that was kind of intriguing. Almost, you had a lot of questions about it. Like, what's going on? What is her role here? And all he had to do was book them like a strong tag team. I don't know. I mean, look, I'm sure there's a whole bunch of different moving parts when it comes to a team like this. Maybe actually Allie wanted out of the group. Maybe they wanted her out of the group. Maybe it was an amicable split. I don't know, but it just seemed like to me that it was a better stable when they were together rather than putting her with the Nightmare family, which comes off as kind of clumsy at times.
Maybe this is a split between Dustin and QT Marshall just because AEW realizes they have too many tag teams for their own good.
No.
Maybe one team is expendable here.
But why separate Bunny from Butcher and Blade to do that?
You need something to break them up. Why not have it be the beautiful female? Maybe she's still working for Butcher and Blade and she was sent in there as a plant just to fucking fuck them up. Maybe it's another storyline that we don't even know of yet.
Could be. That could be.
I don't know. A lot of questions, more questions than answers here as to what's going on with QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes, but it is what it is. We'll figure it out along the way. They're getting a tag team championship match next week. Should be a great match. It's going to be interesting to see QT Marshall in there with Kenny Omega and Adam Hangman Page, but we've seen weirder things on Wednesday night, so I'm looking forward to it. It's tag team wrestling, and AEW usually gets that right. Speaking of tag team wrestling, we got Penelope Ford with Kip Sabian and Nyla Rose versus Hikaru Shida and Kris Statlander. This was probably one of the better women's matches I've seen on AEW Dynamite in a very long time. This was actually very entertaining. I do not agree with the ending, and I'm sure my buddy here does not agree with the ending as well. Jericho asked Shivani how sexy Kip Sabian is, and he did not answer. He was very uncomfortable, and he was umming and ahhing a lot, so he didn't know what to say. Jericho says he doesn't even talk to Rose backstage and stays away from her because she's so intimidating. So Ross, in this match, mentioned the death of Mr. Wrestling. There was another wrestling death in the world of pro wrestling. I wasn't very familiar with Mr. Wrestling, but he did mention that on commentary, just like how they mentioned something about Hana Kimura. As always, AEW paying respect to pro wrestling, no matter what. Statlander was in this thing. She was being beat down by the heels, eventually made a comeback by escaping a Samoan drop by Rose with some elbows, roundhouse kick to the head. Sheeta entered off of a hot tag, superplexed Nyla Rose, which was beautiful. I didn't think she was going to do it, but she got it. Statlander landed an axe kick, which was also very good for a very believable near fall. Rose placed both Statlander and Sheeta on the top rope. She climbed the top rope and delivered her double knee drop to the back of both of their necks simultaneously. And that was awesome. And Sheeta came back soon after with a running knee to the jaw to Rose, then gave Ford a Falcon Arrow for a near fall. Penelope Ford actually kicked out of Hikaru Shida's finishing move. Sabian grabbed Sheeta's leg, tried to interject himself into this thing. Statlander then dove on top of Sabian to take him out. Ford then takes Sheeta's Women's Championship from the outside, nails her in the face with it, and then gave Sheeta a beautiful perfect plex, fisherman suplex with the bridge on Sheeta for the 3 count. And Jesse, Penelope Ford pinned Hikaru Shida, and they were saying on commentary, more than likely she's going to get a women's championship title opportunity against Hikaru Shida. Do not like this booking decision, but they need a match for Fyter Fest, and there really is nobody else right now. So why not reward Penelope Ford for all the hard work that she's done? I just don't like the way that they've got this match to take place at Fyter Fest with her pinning the champion in a very standard tag team match.
No, they're guilty of everything that we complain about in WWE.
Yeah, absolutely.
As it comes, there's literally no difference. There's no don't they have a ranking system in the women's division as well? How does this happen? How does Penelope Ford just get a shot because she got a pin that she should not have gotten? I mean, they just crowned Sheeta, and here we go. I mean, you get the champion.
No matter how nefarious of means there were with the cheap shot with the belt, it should not happen. You know, and it's the same thing like I always complain about. It's always fucking Ford with Sabian or Sabian with Ford. I can't stand it. It's always the same shit every time.
Yeah, you get your champion getting pinned by the greenest worker in the ring. That's not good. That's not good.
So we got this decision here with Rhodes and Ford winning in about 11 minutes. And Penelope Ford is probably going to get a women's championship match at Fyter Fest. So at that point, I think we all kind of know that they're not going to take the belt off of Sheeta, but they need a challenger. And like Jesse said, there is a ranking system that AEW totally did not abide by. And they gave us a very WWE-like ending to this tag team match. Not really for it, but Rhodes and Ford get the win in just over 10 minutes.
Who's the number one contender? Is it Statlander?
You know what? I haven't even looked at the standings. I don't even know. I'm one of the guys that actually bragged. Oh, I love the standings. I love the standings, and I haven't looked in the standings or looked at the standings in a couple of weeks. So I don't know.
Me either. And me, if I'm just going by guessing from what we see on TV, it should be Statlander. But Statlander versus Sheeta wouldn't make for a very good match.
It would make for a very good match. Why?
Because you gotta put two baby faces against each other, and people don't know who to cheer for.
Yeah, I think more so now in what we're dealing with, it really doesn't matter. I mean, if this was like a normal situation, I absolutely agree with you, but I don't really mind that they do the babyface versus babyface thing now with what we're going on. I mean, there's nobody in the arena outside of select few and the actual roster, so I mean, either way you look at it, I'm not trying to justify this decision or give you a better booking decision. I think the women's division is still a long way from being okay, but they could have went in a completely different way here with Ford not pinning the champion. The champion should always look strong. She should not be losing on TV. This reminds me of a typical SmackDown episode on Wednesday night. Not really for it.
No, but think about this as well, though. If they don't already have Sheeta's next opponent lined up for, then what were their plans for her when they gave her the title? They should already have her at the very least, her next feud lined up. Yeah. They just put the title on it and it looked like they're already trying to figure out an opponent for her. They had no plans for her.
You know what it is? They have a plan for Hikaru Shida, but the plan is injured. That's the thing. So now they're scrambling to find somebody in the interim before we get to All Out. So we're going to get these random tag team matches just to buy time, and then we're going to get your role model to go one-on-one with Sheeta at All Out around that time for the Women's Championship.
Well, you know what? It's like they always say, absence make the heart grow fonder. She should go away for a little bit.
Baby. It's coming.
Please.
His baby is going to be Women's Champion.
God, stop. No, she's not. Man.
All right, before we get Jesse off the fucking show because he's going to hang up on me. Darby Allin, not cleared to wrestle. He's not cleared to wrestle. He doesn't give a shit. He's going to do what he wants. There was a Twitter video of him jumping off of a two-story balcony into a fucking pool. I don't know where he was, but he's having a blast away from AEW, I'll tell you that. Maybe celebrating Priscilla Kelly's birthday. She just celebrated her birthday a couple of days ago. But
really?
He was with skateboarding legend Tony Hawk. This was cool. I got to admit, this was cool. And Tony Hawk says, I don't give a shit if you're not clear. Go have fun. He doesn't need any clearance to use his skateboard. Have at it. Darby was at a skateboard rink, indoor. He attempted a few stunts, falling over and over and over. He actually tried to climb a ladder, which obviously ladders and Darby Allin are very synonymous because he was thrown through one by Brian Cage. So it's kind of like a foreshadowing of what's to come with Darby Allin and Brian Cage eventually. But he was on top of the ladder. He was trying to jump off with the skateboard and trying to land on the ramp and then go about doing what he's got to do. But he never got it right. And then finally, the last time he got it right, he skateboarded down the ramp, up another ramp, and then he high-fived Mr. Tony Hawk. And it was pretty awesome. Cut in black and white. And Darby Allin, the less, like we say, the less we hear of Darby Allin, the better. And I love seeing him in his element here. It just makes him a little bit more personable, I would say. What'd you think of this?
Yeah, I think they heard everyone when they said we don't want to hear too much of Darby right now, but we want to see him. So they keep his monologue to an extreme minimum, but they give us something. I've noticed this about every promo we see about Darby Allin. We learn something about his character every time, but he doesn't say anything about it. You know, it's almost like we get a feel of what kind of pain he's going through in this particular feud or whatever. But he's not gonna tell us. He's gonna show us. I mean, it shows the artistic side of Darby and everything else. Since he can't really articulate himself verbally, I think he does it in these promos that I'm pretty sure he's producing and writing and everything else. And it's awesome. I love him.
Yeah, this is great. I don't think he's really hurt, for everybody wondering out there, you know, about him not being cleared. It's just AEW doing the right thing, the good pro wrestling angle. You know, clearly after what we've seen in the casino ladder match, any normal human being would have been fucking broken in half with what he went through. He went through a ladder, he flew off a ladder through a table, feet first. He could have broke his fucking legs on the way down. So they're clearly selling the effects of what happened at Double or Nothing for whatever he does next. So I like it. We don't need to see him every week. You know, everything comes in doses and it's more enjoyable. And I wish WWE would take a fucking clue as far as what they got to do with Charlotte Flair. But that's what I'm talking about. Everything is in doses. It comes in, it just feels a lot better. The same thing happening with Darby Allin and MJF. You don't see MJF in the fucking ring every week. MJF can cut a promo, go away for a week, come back. It's like, oh my God, I love MJF. Same thing with Darby Allin when you see them on Monday, on Wednesday, on Friday. It's like, Jesus fucking Christ. I can't stand it anymore. Then they want to know why the ratings are down. For
the record, I could watch MJF in the ring every damn night.
Well, I could watch him cut a promo every night, for sure.
Just saying. I don't care what he's doing in the ring. If he's in the ring, he's close to a microphone. So that's good enough for me.
I agree. I agree. Your next world champion coming up. Speaking of world champions, Britt Baker. She talked about being an inspiring role model. Inspiring role. I can't even fucking talk. An inspiring role model. She said everybody needs a role model. She's happy to do it, but she needs respect too. Yeah, man. She needs respect. Let's put some respect on that woman's name.
Okay.
What? You want to elaborate there? I can't hear you.
No. Nope, I'm good, man. Go ahead. That's your girl.
You have nothing to add on Britt Baker.
Hey, man.
Dr. Britt Baker.
She is phenomenal at what she does.
Awesome. I'll relay the message to Bebe.
Not gonna
He's
get
got his
me
own
banned.
fucking problems.
Yeah,
She may be taking care of him after what I seen on NXT tonight.
Man, he'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Santana and Ortiz with Jake Hager versus the best friends, Chucky T. Trent and Orange Cassidy. I'm going to speed it up a little bit because the meat and potatoes of this thing happened when Orange Cassidy, on the outside, extended his hand, or his arm, very lazily out there for a tag. Trent tagged him in. Cassidy slowly entered the ring, walked up to Jake Hager, started giving him the most devastating super kicks in all of pro wrestling. Jake lifted him up, threw him into the corner, then across the ring. Cassidy then rolled through, ducked a charging clothesline from Hager, and then put his hands in his pockets. Santana and Ortiz went after him. He ducked under some double punches or a double clothesline from both of them and took them both over with a double head scissors. So he took down Santana and Ortiz at the same time. Jericho was losing his shit on commentary, saying this guy is fooling everybody. He pretends he's lazy, and then he just explodes with his offense. Cassidy then dove through the ropes and knocked Hager into the barricade. He then landed a top rope body block. He countered Santana with a DDT, devastating DDT. Jericho says he's like a pool shark who lulls you with low energy and then surges out of nowhere. Hager caught him midair and power slammed him. Trent and Chucky broke up his cover. Hager then clotheslined Trent over the top rope. Santana attacked him on the floor as Hager and Ortiz attacked Cassidy in the corner. Santana then landed a cannonball onto Cassidy. When Santana and Ortiz set up for the street sweeper on Cassidy, Chuck shoved Santana off the top rope. He took a nasty tumble on the outside. Cassidy then leveraged Ortiz's shoulders down for an upset here, and he got the 3 count. So Orange Cassidy pins Ortiz of the Inner Circle. And my goodness, we are off to the races here with Orange Cassidy and Chris Jericho. Jericho ran out with Floyd, the baseball bat. He bashed Trent and Chuck with it. He jabbed Cassidy in the face with it. Ross said Jericho was as violent and vile as they've seen him. He's pissed, said Ross. Shivani wondered what would be left of the best friends by Fyter Fest if Jericho gets his way tonight. Jericho then went underneath the ring and brought out a bag of oranges. Jericho had a talk with Orange Cassidy, who was completely knocked out at this point. He was bleeding from his ear. Jericho then bashed him in the head with what was said to be 20 pounds of blood oranges. And Excalibur said the Inner Circle has literally bashed Cassidy to a bloody pulp. And Jericho said Blood Orange Cassidy has just been juiced. So he pours out the oranges. Jericho began eating one of them, and they just sprayed all of these orange juices on top of Orange Cassidy. This was great. I mean, only Chris Jericho could fucking pull out oranges from underneath the ring and beat Orange Cassidy over the head with fucking blood oranges. Blood Orange Cassidy, you seen it coming. You knew it was coming. You texted me. There you got it. Blood Orange Cassidy. I didn't think we were ever going to be interested in an Orange Cassidy Chris Jericho match, but holy shit, if this happens at Fyter Fest, take my money. This is going to be one of the more entertaining matches of 2020, no question.
Yeah, man, Orange Cassidy is on his way to the top. I think the TNT title has his name all over it. I think the only thing we're really waiting for is a live crowd.
Yeah.
Cody's gonna go through his matches and everything else, but I think I think Orange is a really good candidate to take that title from Cody. He's the guy just oozes charisma even in an empty arena. I mean, there's just no denying this guy. I mean, he's I think the fact that we all know he can work and we know he's going to incorporate his work style into his match when he's ready. You know what it is about him? I'm watching him tonight, and I also want to make mention of Floyd the Bat, because you mentioned something to me funny over text when we were watching the show, and I want to elaborate on Floyd the Bat in a little bit. But the thing with Orange Cassidy is, you know, you watch your Charlottes and you watch your Roman Reigns and you watch your Randy Ortons, and they all got their own spots. You watch your Braun Strowmans or anybody. They got their big 3, 4, 5 moves that they do. They got a similar sequence in almost every match that they do. You know, Orange Cassidy's no different compared to a Roman Reigns, where you got, you know, the Superman punch and you got the spear and you got the drive-by and all that shit. It's programmed. You know when it's coming. You know when it's coming and how it's going to be done. Orange Cassidy, Jesse, with his offense, and I mean this wholeheartedly. I was not a big Orange Cassidy guy. I thought this was going to be one of those fucking jokey gimmicks that AEW really wasn't going to do much with. And, man, they fucking proved me wrong, because his match with Pac was unbelievable. And I watch him now and how over he is and how he's developing. His offense and his sequence of moves when he does it is as explosive and exciting as anybody in the business. And he pulls it off fucking beautifully. He is so good at what he does. And like you said, if this guy's not TNT champion at some point this year, I think AEW's fucking up, to be honest with you. Yes, he has phenomenal pacing in his matches. He paces the comedy along with the seriousness.
And a lot of people think it's easy to do what he does. Like that is not easy to fucking make that to just play that character. Not anybody could just pick up, you know, clothes like that and do what he does. Brilliant.
No.
You know? So that is definitely on the mind of a lot of people with Orange Cassidy. I can't wait to see what he does with Chris Jericho. Jesse, Floyd the Bat, you made a comment on Floyd the Bat tonight, and I have to agree with you on it. So why don't you tell everybody listening tonight what you said about Floyd the Bat?
Everything Chris Jericho does is money. He's like Midas. Anything he touches turns to gold. Pineapple Pete, over as fuck. I'm telling you right now, before this month is over with, that bet, Floyd the Bet, is going to be more over than Braun Strowman as Universal Champion. Quote me on that. I'm telling you right now. He's going to make that bet. They're going to start selling that bet. What? That bet's going to be on T-shirts. Floyd is going to be over as fuck. Watch.
Well, if AEW starts selling some Negan-inspired Jericho designs, then we got a fucking problem. We can't have that. But Floyd the Bat, listen, I'm telling you, there's a reason why Floyd the Bat is getting a lot of play, and I don't know why I was thinking it tonight. The way he was holding it, the way he's just like nurturing it, and whatever with the bat. Santana even held the bat and pointed it at the fucking camera. I'm telling you, man, if this doesn't lead to Sting coming into AEW and having something with Chris Jericho, I would be shocked if it don't happen. There's a reason why the Bat is playing a prominent role in Jericho's act right now, and I think that is Sting. I really do.
Maybe. By the way, you know where you get that name from?
Is it because of what we are going through right now in the world with the world climate?
Absolutely.
I did not know that. Where did you hear that?
I'm actually really fucking guessing that.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised. And that's just the consummate professional that Chris Jericho is. So yes. I would not be surprised at that. But, you know, with everything that's going on, Jericho, like you said, great at what he does. He turns chicken shit into chicken salad every single time. There's nothing that the guy does is bad. Everything he does is just brilliant. Commentary, character work, getting somebody over, whether it's verbally or in the ring, like an Orange Cassidy, like a Pineapple Pete. I mean, he may be doing the best work of his entire life at this point in AEW. And when he looks back on it, if you look back at Chris Jericho and you interview Jericho 20 years from now and you ask him what was the most prideful of your entire career, what was the most exciting part of your career, he's going to mention this run in AEW. I guarantee you. I guarantee he's going to mention AEW.
Yeah, as we see this side of Jericho now on commentary, and we already knew he was good at commentary. Now we see how great he really is at commentary. We're going to be looking at Chris Jericho until the day he dies in pro wrestling. Because when he's done in the ring, when he's done doing the producer, when he's done running Gorilla, when he can go to commentary and he can do that until he's a senior citizen and he's done. So we're going to be seeing Chris Jericho in pro wrestling for a very long time.
I agree. It's going to be exciting. He's definitely got a career waiting for him on commentary, I'll tell you that. Sammy Guevara versus Colt Cabana. This one was pretty easy to predict. Sammy G needed a win. And, you know, they were building this between Sammy G and Colt Cabana because they both needed wins. Now, something that we all knew Sammy needed. Colt Cabana, not so much. He's kind of at the bottom of things in AEW, but they're still pushing him in a way to kind of get him involved in this Dark Order storyline. Ross said that during this match, they would hope they would get something on Orange Cassidy's condition, being that the Inner Circle beat him up. And then obviously with Sammy G in the Inner Circle, he was looking for his own win. Colt took Guevara down early, some chops to the chest. Colt then took Guevara to the mat with a wrist lock. Sammy was very cocky here, middle finger, saying he was the best, and he was just being very nonchalant with the 40-year-old Colt Cabana. So he dove onto Colt. We went to commercial break. We had a split-screen commercial. Sammy controlled during the commercial break. Colt then came back babyface style with some punches, some elbows. The bionic elbow landed his flying apple backsplash in the corner. He went for a splash, but Guevara moved. Colt just bounced on his feet and landed a second attempt at a splash for a 2 count. Colt then pressed and tossed Guevara off the top rope and landed a moonsault for a near fall. Colt does a beautiful moonsault, and he's just so good at what he does. At 40 years old, he doesn't look like he should be doing half the shit that he's doing, but he's so good at what he does. He's so smooth. He set up a reverse Chicago skyline slam off the middle rope, but he slipped. Ross noted early in the match that Sammy's 26, like I said, and then Colt was 40. And sometimes when athletes age or get to the age that Colt Cabana is, they start wondering if they're losing a step. So Ross on top of his game, just kind of adding that little fuel to the fire about him joining the Dark Order. What does he need to do to right the ship here? Guevara then gave Colt a GTS for the win. Excalibur said Colt went for a fancy version of the Chicago skyline that he doesn't use much anymore, and it backfired. So commentary was on point here. They sold the story of Colt still slipping and losing. Guevara wins in 8 minutes. Evil Uno and Stu Grayson finally make their return to AEW Dynamite representing the Dark Order. Then out came Mr. Brody Lee. He walked out. He approached Colt, and Colt was laying on the stage or sitting on the stage, offered his hand. Colt accepted, and Brody picked up Colt Cabana. So Brody helped him to his feet. He then turned and simply left with the rest of the Dark Order. Everybody was wondering if this was a metaphor for bigger things for Colt Cabana. Colt walked away. And the thing is, Jesse, Colt didn't walk through the babyface tunnel. He walked through the same tunnel that the Dark Order walked through.
Yeah, you noticed it.
I did notice that. Of course I did.
Here's what I like about
So what does that mean?
Cabana.
What do you think about this?
You know, there's a lot of people being underused or not used at all in WWE, and a lot of the people will come out and say, "Well, look, you can't use everybody. Everybody can't be at the top of the card. Everybody can't be on TV, even though they have plenty of hours of TV. You just can't book everybody at one time, and where they all want to be." Colt Cabana in AEW is an awesome example of how you book a mid to lower card talent and you keep them on TV, you keep them interested. Cabana is in the most interesting ongoing storyline on BTE right now. Every week, him and Kenny. It's an ongoing thing. And the thing is, it just keeps him relevant. And then you get him on TV and he does something like this. Cabana lost tonight. Cabana didn't put on a strong wrestling match tonight. But who was the star of this match? It was Colt Cabana.
Yeah.
It was Colt Cabana. This guy lost. He traditionally loses, and he's got an ongoing storyline. If you ask Cabana right now how he's feeling right now in AEW, I'm sure he'd say he'll love it. And he's not winning, and he's not looking like a superstar, but he's being utilized to his best strengths, his comedy, his charisma. They're using it to put together interesting storylines on BTE and on low-end storylines on Dynamite. That's how you use everybody. Look at Shawn Spears. Everybody said, well, when he gets over there, he won't be used there either. They are using them. They're using them in different spots here and there. It's not every week, and it's at the mid-card. Everybody can be used. You just got to rotate stories and wrestle. I love what they're doing with Cabana. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I'm very intrigued by it. You know, I don't know. I don't really know the plan of the Dark Order because it seems like they're just adding or potentially adding a lot to the group, and they're really not they're not doing much of anything. They're just adding, and they're not really showing us anything else on TV. So I'm wondering what they're going to be doing moving forward on into the summer and fall months. But if it gets guys like Colt Cabana in something and meaningful on TV, it's just great. I love when everything has a certain meaning or a segment on a show has meaning. I fucking loathe when you watch something on a Raw or a SmackDown or even NXT that has absolutely no meaning to anything. Building from a previous week or building into next week. It's just there. It exists just to fill 15 minutes on a TV show. This has meaning. I don't know where it's going, but you got my attention. That's all I asked for.
Yeah, everything's on hold right now because of the pandemic. We just get Uno and Grayson back. I mean, we have to wait till we get all our pieces back. I think they're doing really, really great for the pieces they have and everything. They just got Uno and Grayson back. First week on TV since the pandemic. They have to try to now bleed these storylines together with the talent they have coming back. They got to get Pac back on TV and everything else. I think it's going to be awesome. I think over the summer and into the fall, when they start getting our crowds back, I think AEW is going to hit their stride and take off.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm waiting for it. I really am. I feel like when it comes to things like this, certain segments on the show, I really feel like I'm not invested completely like I was when we were just hitting our stride on Dynamite. I feel like part of me is in it, part of me is not. Even with NXT, same thing. I just want things to get back to normal. I cannot wait till we get live crowds, and a lot of these segments on these shows are going to really benefit from it. Like you said, I can't wait for all that to happen. With this Sammy Guevara thing, even something as small as this, Jesse, we talked about Sammy and Colt, and then Colt doing the Dark Order thing. AEW continuing to build from previous weeks, or as of earlier last week. We seen this with Sammy and Matt Hardy. The focus then shifted to Matt Hardy and Sammy Guevara. Matt Hardy walked out when Sammy was celebrating his victory over Colt. Sammy asked why he's interrupting his victory celebration. Matt said when he looks at him, he sees someone with a never say die attitude. He said no matter how hard he gets hit, he always gets back up. Matt said that Sammy G is the future of AEW. Guevara nodded. Matt said, to realize his maximum potential, you have to get away from Chris Jericho and the Inner Circle. Trust me when I say that, Sammy. Sammy then listened to what Matt had to say, but then Matt tried, obviously, to kill Sammy G, and Sammy G brought this up. He tried to kill me twice. So then we got a Matt fact appearing on the screen. He said that he is an excellent driver who likes to watch Sammy sprint. Sammy interrupted and said he isn't sure if he's dumb or stupid or broken, and then obviously he dipped from Matt Hardy into Damascus. Broken Matt came out, and all of a sudden we got him yelling, delete, delete, he's going to eat him. Something, I don't know what else he said. It was just, me laughing at this because I love when he dips in and out of these characters. But Mofungo, I think he mentioned something about fucking Mofungo. He's going to eat him like Mofungo and spit him out or something like that. I didn't really write it in the notes, but delete, delete, delete. He's going to delete Sammy. So it looks like we got something here. And Ross said this is something out of the Twilight Zone, ladies and gentlemen. I don't understand it. So you think we see this at Fyter Fest? We got Matt Hardy or Damascus against Sammy G.
Yeah, that's what it looks like they're going with it. I mean, and it'd be a fun match. I mean, it should be a really good match. Who will come out on it? I don't know. I don't think it really matters either way. They gave Sammy a win here tonight, but I don't know how many more losses he should be taking, and Matt Hardy can do to take a loss right about now. Plus, they'll probably start, what'll be funny? They'll probably start charging each gimmick of Matt Hardy's their own record.
Oh, man, you think they do that?
I don't know, probably.
I think they are. I wouldn't even mind that they are three different characters.
Give them their own individual record. That'd be awesome.
Hey, listen, Matt's at a point right now. He's untouchable. Even if he loses to a Sammy G, it's not going to really damage Matt Hardy in any way. Matt Hardy to this company is so much more valuable than what he's doing on TV right now. He just wants to ride out the rest of his years in pro wrestling happy, and he was not going to be able to accomplish that under Vince McMahon. That's all I really care about as far as Matt Hardy. Do I expect him to be a champion in AEW? No. Do I expect Jeff to come on into AEW and then things really take off and then they get their final push as tag team champions? Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm waiting for. That's going to be Matt's swan song. Right now he's just having fun and biding his time until Jeff gets out of WWE and then he joins him in AEW. I'm sure you agree with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You know what Matt is doing on BTE right now every week?
No, I haven't watched, so explain.
He's literally exposing the business. Like every damn week, they go, like the Bucks will go out of the way to slide in an insider term, and then Matt Hardy breaks in and exposes the lingo. I think last week was a rib. He jumps in and it'll interrupt the conversation mid talk. They'll stop talking and he'll jump into frame and start explaining what a rib is, what a work, what a shoot is. It's every week he just comes out on BTE and just literally exposes the business. It's hilarious. Yeah,
tell that to Vince McMahon. Vince McMahon would have a fucking field day with that one. Jesus Christ. He got pissed that the Tommaso Ciampa Randy Orton back and forth on Twitter. He got pissed. I read a report today. Why are you selling a match that we're never going to do,
Yeah. Speaking of NXT and reports, man. Oh, not NXT, but WWE. I just got a spoiler headline for SmackDown.
Uh-oh.
I'm not watching this week.
Well, you might as well say it now. I don't think anybody really cares.
Oh, I'm not gonna spoil the show, but they jumped to an even lower, even new low for Jeff Hardy.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I'm not watching this week. If you thought if I thought the DUI angle was in bad taste, and so did a lot of other people. So clearly, Bruce and Vince said, "Hold my damn drink." Yeah, I'm not watching this week, man. I won't spoil it for people because I hate when people spoil it for me, but I'm not watching this shit. There's no way. I'm done. I'm not watching that entire episode because of that angle.
I'm sure somebody in the comments will know what you're talking about and they'll leave it in the comments, but if it's that bad, they're going to make me take all the good things I said about these last couple of shows. Last week was terrible. The week before that with the IC Championship, they're going to make me take away everything that I said good about the show. This is exactly what I didn't want them to do. It should have died when he was innocent after all that. That Sheamus set him up. You mean to tell me they're going to dive deeper into this guy's drug history and bring it to television?
Oh, man. I don't want to spoil it for people because I hate when it happens to me. But if you're interested, you can go online and look. The spoilers are out there for anybody who's interested. But yeah, they doubled down and they took it to a whole new low.
Well, if that's the case, it's exactly what you told me off of camera on text. The last time we talked, this is exactly what they're doing. They're not going to give Jeff the redemption that he deserves. They're going to bury him on the way out because they probably know they probably know he's going to end up with Matt in AEW. His redemption is going to be fucking leaving the company. That's his fucking redemption. It's not going to be a Bray Wyatt victory and the Universal Championship.
No, it's not.
That's terrible.
No.
That's terrible. I got to immediately look that up because I don't give a shit about the spoilers, but if it's that bad, man, holy shit. Unbelievable. Anyway, we got a victory from Sammy G. They went into the Matt Hardy thing. Looks like they're setting something up there. Video package aired on Joey Janela. He said he came to AEW to be a star. He said he once fought Jon Moxley in the main event and then since faded into darkness. He said sometimes he feels his best moments in wrestling are behind him. They showed him in a bar. He was drinking. And then all of a sudden they showed Sonny Kiss roll up in a drop-down convertible. And that was it. Sonny invited him to go wherever. He got in the car. Joey said he's been drinking. And then the screen said, to be continued. So I don't know what they're doing with Joey Janela, but I mean, I don't really give a shit about Joey Janela. How do you feel about Joey Janela?
I don't know they were going with it. I thought it was kind of an interesting angle.
It was shot well, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was shot very, very well. That is for damn sure. Where they're going with it with Sonny Kiss, I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to see Sonny Kiss in a ring.
No.
Because it's just not entertaining at all. But if they got something for him that doesn't involve him being in the ring, I want to see it. I want to see what happens. I want to see what happens with it.
We'll see what happens. Joey Janela, one of the least interesting things on AEW television. Hopefully they can make something out of him. I don't know. But like you said, I have no interest in seeing Sonny Kiss on TV. As long as they don't make them into a tag team, we got enough of those.
Yeah, enough of tag teams right now.
Dasha caught up with Colt Cabana, trying to ask him about his loss to Sammy G. He walked away, knocked on the Dark Order locker room door. Brody Lee, or Mr. Brody Lee's name was on the door. And then the audience, you could hear them audibly shout, "No! Don't go into the door." Colt went inside, and he seemed a little downtrodden. He seemed his spirits were defeating. So now he's seeking help in the Dark Order. So we'll find out next week what he actually did in Mr. Brody Lee's locker room. We got the Gun Club, Billy Gunn, and his son Austin. And he was being interviewed by Tony Schiavone, and then all of a sudden, MJF just comes out of nowhere. And apparently, he was complaining, Jesse, that he's been ranked right underneath the world champion now for 3 straight weeks. He's undefeated in AEW. He said management in AEW is egregious, and it's all politics backstage. He walks backstage, and people start giving him dirty looks. When are we going to get our boy as the world champion? Is he going to be the world champion in AEW, or is politics in AEW going to ruin Maxwell's world championship run? What's going on here?
Is he wrong? He's undefeated, right?
He is undefeated. And he mentioned about Jungle Boy Jobber there, Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
Yeah. Yeah. It's either Moxley's jobbing him or hey, Tony doesn't want to give him a shot. Which one is it?
I don't know.
Right.
But next week he's got Billy Gunn. He said he's a what did he say? He said he's a great white shark in a pool of something. I forgot what he said. Some small ass fish he mentioned. I don't know.
This is kind of ironic. I remember when The Rock was on the cusp of becoming a megastar, and right before he did, he was in a feud with Billy Gunn, and Rock buried him just so damn bad in the microphone and in the match and in the feud, and like Gunn never recovered from it. And here's MJF versus Billy Gunn. It's gonna be kind of the same thing here.
I think he said the only thing you're good at is getting another one of your degenerate sons a job in a pro wrestling company. And then Billy Gunn was like, whoa, what the fuck's going on here? And then MJF, like the chicken shit heel he is, he cowered behind Wardlow, and then Wardlow dwarfed fucking Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn's a big fucking dude. He's about the same size as fucking Wardlow.
Cower behind Wardlow? He pays Wardlow to do his job. What the fuck is he? Why should he be fighting Billy Gunn? What's he paying Wardlow for?
I don't know.
He ain't cower behind him. Tell him to do his job.
I guess so. I guess so. Anyway.
God.
Anyway, we got Billy Gunn and MJF next week on Dynamite, so we got that. And they also mention Omega and Page versus the Natural Nightmares for the tag team titles. We got a TNT title match as well. We don't know who is going to challenge Cody Rhodes. The LA Sex Gods, Jericho and Guevara versus the Best Friends with Orange Cassidy. And we got Sabian and Havoc versus the Young Bucks for the first time ever next week. So it's a tag team heavy Dynamite next week. And the winners here, well, I would say Sabian and Havoc, if they don't beat the Young Bucks, then they give up their tag team championship opportunity to the Young Bucks, I believe, for Fyter Fest is what I heard. So the winner of this match realistically faces Omega and Page at Fyter Fest for the tag team championships. Or something along those lines. What was it exactly? Best Friends?
I think it was Best Friends.
If the Best Friends don't beat, I'm sorry, I got it mixed up. If the Best Friends don't beat Jericho and Guevara next week on Dynamite, then they give up their tag team title opportunity at Omega and Page at Fyter Fest. That's what it was.
At Fyter Fest.
So, what do you think happens there? That's an interesting twist.
It just looks like Havoc and Kip are just there because they're looking for tag teams right now. Because you got the Lucha Bros are out and everything else. You got the Pac and all those guys still waiting to get back together because he's still stuck overseas and everything else. I think they just kind of had those guys as a placeholder right now. I don't think that's actually a legitimate tag team they plan on pushing anytime soon.
Havoc and Sabian.
Havoc and Sabian, yeah. They get the Death Triangle is still hanging around there. They have to get them back together still.
What's their names? If Evil Uno and Stu Grayson are back, then Pac should be back. And at Pentagon and Phoenix, they should be back on TV inevitably.
Yeah, isn't Phoenix hurt though?
Yeah, I actually got news on Phoenix. Being that you mentioned Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix was actually supposed to be in the TNT Championship match this week against Cody. So I'm assuming they're going to be doing that eventually, but they pulled him because they didn't want to risk any further injury, and they put Marq Quen in there. So Phoenix suffered that ankle injury, if you remember, on the go-home edition of Dynamite for Double or Nothing. He's not ready for in-ring yet, so they took him out of that. They'll probably wait a couple of weeks, put him back in there. I'm sure Cody will defend against him, so that's why we got Marq Quen in the main event tonight. So, yeah, he's out hurt.
Yeah, also, don't keep in mind, though, Grayson and Uno were stuck in Canada. Yeah. So the Canada flight restrictions are going to be different from the ones in the UK and everything else.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure eventually, it's got to be by the end of the month. I think those restrictions will be lifted. I think I read somewhere that Tessa, the Mexican borders were also very strict, and Tessa Blanchard actually lives in Mexico, so she is going to be back at the next set of Impact taping. So I think everything's going to kind of normalize itself. So
yeah, good. This is the current climate. I think Tessa should stay out in Mexico for a little while longer.
Oh yeah. So definitely. Nobody knows what's going on with her. that's a whole nother story, a whole nother can of worms with Tessa Blanchard. She's also a free agent this summer too, so she could probably kiss that world championship goodbye sooner rather than later.
Well, she's been keeping a low profile since her controversy, which is the best.
Yeah, that shit is that shit. I mean, it's gonna be brought up, no question, just based on the nature of it. It's gonna be brought up, but I think right now with everything that's going on, it's kind of swept under the rug for the most part.
Yeah. Just lay low for a little bit, and that'll die down. Whenever she resurfaces and tries to come over here or wherever she goes, it will be brought back up.
Of course.
And she will have to address it. And I think her initial denies and lies about it are going to be thrown back in her face too. I think again, if she just came clean about it and give it the time to die down, it will. But the more she lies about it, the more it's going to keep coming back up.
Yeah, I think she's got a saving grace with the company. If the company really wants her, that her father's still there. So I think she does have a lifeline there. But like you said, I agree. It's going to be brought back up eventually because everybody, as soon as you reach the top or reach a certain level, they're going to bring you right back down. And I could absolutely see that happening with Tessa Blanchard, no question.
Yep.
But moving on, we got Moxley. He was waiting, or actually Marvez was waiting for Moxley in the parking lot. He said he was in a real bad mood. He said his neck hurts, his back hurts. It hurts to sit on the toilet. He says he's tired of people running their mouths when they have no idea what they're talking about. He said Taz has been telling everyone that Brian Cage is going to beat him up. He said if he was trying to get under his skin, it's working. He's going to be one of those guys that's going to pop Cage like a giant pimple and shut Taz up for good. He said he's one miserable son of a bitch. Sounds like me during Friday nights. He said it pisses him off that Taz and Jericho and anyone else thinks Cage can beat him. He said it drives him to train harder and hit harder. He said Taz is one of the great trash talkers ever. And then Taz came out. He was yelling at Moxley, saying he was sitting in his trailer, hearing him chirping like a little bird. Cage then attacked Moxley from behind. It was a cheap sneak attack, said Jim Ross. Cage threw Moxley into a metal barricade in the parking lot. Cage nearly got hit with a steel pipe by Moxley. That went crashing through a passenger side window on a rental car. Cage threw Moxley, or I hope it was a rental car. Cage threw Moxley into it.
Plates.
Say again?
It had AEW plates.
Well, then it's owned by Tony Khan.
It was a piece of crap car.
Well, I mean, they need something to destroy. So Cage barely missed this metal pipe attack, and then Cage threw Moxley into the metal barricade in the parking lot. Like I said, Moxley swung the pipe. Cage ducked, broke a window. Cage gave Moxley a spine buster on the back of the car. Taz tried to stop Cage, but that didn't work. He said, "We sent the message. It's time to go." Cage then picked him up anyway and slammed him on the windshield of the car. The license plate, like Jesse said AEW. So it was AEW property. So we're looking at this match continuing the build. A lot of people I've seen were talking about it on social media, Jesse. I don't think anybody's opinions changed. I think everybody's in the same boat as us. We're feeling about this match the same that we did going into the Brody Lee John Moxley match at Double or Nothing. I don't think Cage loses clean, but I do think Cage loses, and I just find it very difficult to believe that they would take the title off of Moxley at a Fyter Fest and not a pay-per-view.
No, they're not going to, and they shouldn't. And again, I mean, I would love to sit here and drink the AEW Kool-Aid, but I'm not a fan of how they debut Cage, and then within the next month he's in the ring with the world champion. It just doesn't sit well with me. He didn't earn it, and I don't care what kind of stipulation you put up into a match, and if he didn't earn it per your ranking system, he shouldn't be there. And forget all of that. You still want to build him up first. Even when Moxley beats him, he didn't really beat anybody. I mean, we know who Brian Cage is. We know he's a monster, a powerhouse, and all that stuff. But as in terms of in AEW, he's a complete nobody. He has a couple of wins over a couple of jobbers. So build him up. Let him walk through a few guys, man. We got plenty of guys that can eat an L to build up somebody for Moxley to beat. I mean, I don't understand the rush to get him in and get him out. If they get plans to get that title off of Moxley and they want to put these two in a match beforehand, why? Get your title off of Moxley whenever you plan on it, and these two can have a match without that title, and it'll mean just as much. It'll be their first time meeting and everything else. I mean, I think they're just kind of, I don't want to say that they're burying or wasting or killing Brian Cage. I just think they are going about it in a untraditional way, as opposed to just like, build him up, make him a beast. And when he loses to Moxley, it's not Moxley chopping him down. It's Moxley overcoming this beast. Right about now, this guy came in hot and he's about to get knocked out by Moxley.
Yeah, I don't want to come off as a shill either, but I keep going back to the same reasoning that I gave everybody with Brody Lee and Jon Moxley. I didn't think they were going to do it. They did it. Obviously, Tony Khan has a plan, and if he's doing this, there's got to be a reason for it. There's got to be a vision. There's got to be a plan. I don't think Tony Khan. Listen, Tony Khan is new to this game. He's not really, someone that has had a lot of experience booking shows. But the one thing I do respect about Tony Khan is that he has a vision, and he's been booking week to week, and he's just gone in a way that I wish WWE would go, and that's long term. And I do think if he's doing this, there's a reason behind it, and it's going to show itself, and we're going to find out what the reason is, and it's going to build towards All Out. So I'm very confident in that, but like you said, I would not have done it this way with Brian Cage. It's very bizarre.
It is. Especially since they just did it with Brody Lee. Yeah. Same exact thing, yeah. So we'll figure it out. I don't know. Maybe something changes over the next couple of weeks, but I doubt it. I still don't think they take the title off of Jon Moxley. Oh, hell no.
No, they should. I mean, that is for MJF, and they should save it for MJF. Mm-hmm. Details on Fyter Fest, Jesse. It will be taped on July 1st and July 2nd, meaning that the July 1st show will be live, and then the following week's show will be taped. So it's pretty much the same schedule that AEW has for Dynamite right now. So tonight's show was live, and next week's show was already taped. So they probably taped that yesterday, and they taped that first, and then they did this week's live. So that's what they're doing there. It's going to be an interesting experience for Fyter Fest. Maybe AEW brings fans in, because I believe as of this week, I think it's starting this Friday, if I'm not mistaken. Florida is going to be able to have 50% capacity in stage 2 of their reopening of the state. So they could have live fans for Fyter Fest. I hope Backlash is the same way. WWE can have actual people there at 50% capacity as long as they're following guidelines. Will they do that? We don't know, but it's going to be a mix of live and taped for Fyter Fest going into their next big show. Now, I also wanted to talk about, before we actually get into the TNT Championship match, I got 2 things here. One, FTR are not signed to AEW yet. They're on handshake deals. They have yet to sign with AEW. They will be able to take independent bookings, and this fits right into what people were speculating about them anyway. They will do the majority of their work and sign with AEW, I do believe, but as of right now, they want to kind of get their feet wet. And I think you kind of hinted at this to me at one point or another too. Maybe NWA, maybe a New Japan, and then sign with AEW when they kind of get their feet wet and all these other promotions that they probably have been dying to go to as they were locked up in Vince McMahon's prison. So what do you think about that? No contracts yet for FTR and AEW.
Yeah, I think it gives them the opportunity to kind of do a lot of the things that they were not allowed to do over the last 2 years. They get to go to New Japan, get some interesting matchups over there. They get to go, they can't go work Ring of Honor, but they can work Ring of Honor talent in New Japan or in Mexico, just not on U.S. soil. I think it's going to create a lot of buzz for them. I think the purpose of this is they actually want to be what they keep claiming to be. They want to be the best tag team in the world, and you can't be the best tag team in the world just wrestling in Florida. So
no,
they want to go out there and they want to meet. They want to meet different people. They want to meet different talent. I love it. I would love to see FTR versus GOD, versus the Briscoes. I would love it, man.
What if they take the IWGP Tag Team Championships away from New Japan, bring them to the States, and then challenge the Young Bucks for the AEW Tag Team? What if they have all the Tag Team Championships around every promotion they're in? What if they win the NWA Tag Team Championships? What if they win the New Japan Tag Team Championship and then come to AEW and say, you said you're the best tag team in the world? Look at us. Show us.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of relationship they still have with New Japan, but as I said that, I thought about this. They can't wrestle on U.S. soil, but wait a minute. Now we got Marty over there at ROH. Who says he can't?
There you go. That could be the bridge. Maybe they win the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships and bring them to AEW.
Man, look at that. What if that happens? What if ROH and AEW just basically merges?
It was talked about. It was speculated. I don't know, man.
Man. Ooh, there's a reason. There's a reason Marty stayed over there and got full control.
I know. It's an interesting development.
It's interesting.
We'll see what happens. It's going to be a very interesting summer. Like I said, AEW is going to be a very different promotion come their first full year. When you see October and we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary, it's going to be a very big deal. And don't think that they don't have a big show planned already for that 1-year anniversary on TNT.
It. Live crowds come back.
Yep.
We got the pop.
A Ring of Honor invasion. Marty Scurll on AEW Dynamite
shows up. Oh man.
We're getting excited about something that's probably never gonna happen.
It's gonna happen.
All right, we'll see.
I hope it happens.
Something else might happen too, man. AEW could be introducing another new championship. Before we talk about Cody and Marq Quen here for the TNT Championship, during the last Jericho cruise, Kenny Omega made a very keen promise about 6-man tag team titles coming to the company, and then nothing was done. So now we're seeing a lot of triple threat matches. We've seen a lot of triple threat matches in the past. Oh, not triple threat, six-man tags. So Matt Hardy and Private Party joined forces. Matt Hardy was out with Marq Quen, and then Isaiah Cassidy came out after their match tonight. So that is another 3-man team that they got in AEW. You obviously got the Best Friends. You got the Death Triangle. You got Jurassic Express. You got the Elite or any variation of the Elite. So on Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer noted that it certainly appears AEW is beefing up their 6-man tag team division, and we could be seeing another new championship introduced. Do you think this is a good idea, or do you think it's going to be a little too much for AEW at this point?
I think it's overkill right now. I think it's definitely overkill. I like the idea, but here's the only way I would bring it up is if they get a second network television show.
Which they are actually in discussion about.
Oh, okay.
Don't know what day of the week it goes to. Maybe a Thursday. But
if they get a second live television show, they can expand their roster a little bit, and they can fill that, and they can keep the tag titles on one show and the trios titles on the other, and then I like it.
Yeah, it's a very good idea.
Yep.
It's going to be interesting how they book their own version of Thunder almost, or their own version of SmackDown. You know, yeah. I'm not really all for it right now, but, they got to let that roster grow a little bit, because I think right now adding another show might be a little too much, but, we'll see what happens. It's being talked about, and Meltzer brought it up, so I figured it'd be a good point of discussion here on the podcast. Finally, we got AEW TNT Championship match, Cody versus Marq Quen. This was supposed to be Rey Fenix. We talked about that a little bit earlier. Marq Quen of Private Party. This was a very good match. Cody did not go all out like he did with Jungle Boy, with blading and blood and tables and this and that. This was a good story. They played off Marq Quen's leg or ankle, the injury that he got in a tag team match last week, which was great, or the week before, rather. Story was there. Solid storytelling always with Cody. Cody and Quen shook hands at the opening of the bell. They traded tackles and drop downs. Quen hit a standing moonsault and a drop kick. Cody applied a leg capture dragon sleeper before we go to commercial break. And then obviously the story of Quen's ankle injury was set up a couple of weeks ago, and it played a big role here in this match. During the break, Cody tossed Quen outside. Cody stomped on an ankle. Quen went for a springboard attack, but sold that his ankle gave out, so I love that. So after the commercials were done, we came back. Cody was working on the left ankle. Cody hit an inverted superplex off the top rope, which looked great. Quen came back with a corkscrew DDT, which looked awesome. I don't even know if that was the move plan that they had laid out, but it looked great. Quen hit 2 dives over the top rope, gingerly flying over the top rope. He wasn't getting the height or the speed like he usually gets. He was selling the ankle, so good work there by Quen. Quen teased the 3rd dive. Cody jumped back in. Quen tossed Cody out of the ring on the other side and hit his backflip dive over the top. Nailed it. Cody then crawled to the ramp. Quen went up top. He didn't know what he wanted to do. I didn't know what he was going to do, but he delivered a 450 splash off the top to Cody on the ramp. Picture perfect 450 splash. And then we seen the finish with Quen go for a shooting star press. Cody sidestepped, and Quen crashed to the mat. Cody applied an ankle lock, and Quen tapped out. This was awesome, Jesse. The ending was predictable, but man, oh man, I'm going to be a little biased just because of Private Party and their ties with Amazing Red and House of Glory and the fact that I've watched these guys grow and mature doing my thing over in House of Glory. So, you know, I'm going to be a little biased here. Marq Quen was great here tonight. You know, a lot of people think of them as, you know, flips and dives and, you know, they're the party guys and they don't really sell and they don't have a scientific way about them in a tag team element. But Marq Quen, when I tell you in House of Glory, everybody praised this guy's athleticism. Everybody praised this guy's work. People were even comparing them to the Hardy Boys back, you know, when they were in House of Glory, still maturing and growing before they even went to AEW. Marq Quen showed everybody that he's just not the young kid that does flips and dives. He told a story here against one of the best in the business. He looked great in doing so. It was a great spotlight for him. He looked like a true it's going to be a common theme, I know it. Everybody that loses to Cody is going to be a fucking winner in this case, and Marq Quen looked like a fucking winner tonight. Yeah,
he did look good. I don't know if to me he came off as a tag team wrestler though in a singles match. Now I know that's what he was, but to me he came off as such. If that makes any sense to you. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I think they actually covered that on commentary where they said management approved it. You know, it was supposed to be Ray Phoenix, but management approved it, and they went to management with said match, and they approved it, and that was it. That was their explanation. Which, I mean, at least they gave an explanation. Yeah. Sometimes we get nothing. No. It's fine. It makes sense. But I mean, I just mean the way that Quen works in his match. It feels like he's missing that tag partner. Yeah. If that makes any sense. You know, we're not used to seeing him. He always get, you know, Marq Quen, a part of Private Party, he's always the guy that gets the hot tag. Cassidy's the one that's being beat down, then Marq Quen comes in with the explosive offense. So, you know, we got a little bit of everything with Marq Quen because he was by himself. He didn't have Cassidy to lean on. So, yeah, it's going to look a little weird out there watching him go 12 minutes with Cody Rhodes when he doesn't have that guy on the apron to make the hot tag to, you know? Yeah, here's also my concern with Cody as being that champion. I don't think, man, I don't want it to sound the wrong way, but I don't think Cody is a good enough in-ring worker, pure work rate to do these TV matches the way that he wants them to come off. Let me explain. Cody is going to be phenomenal in the ring. And usually it's through his storytelling. That's why the guy blades like 14 times a match. I mean, because the build and the storyline and then the way they execute the match per se, that's why they also have a lot of interference, like, you know, QT or Brandy or this or that. There's always some kind of influx of stuff going on in a Cody match. Why? Because he can tell a good story in the ring. I mean, he's fine in the ring, but he's not gonna work you to death. He's not gonna be in there like Pac. He's not gonna be in there like a Ray Phoenix. He's not gonna work you in a 45-minute to a 1-hour marathon like Kenny. He can go. So, but the point to this though is he's having matches every week with people that he has no storyline, no feuds with. Basically, they're just new matches. So when he gets into a match with, you know, Quen, basically, like you just said, it's predictable. We know who's going to win. Why am I interested? You know what I'm saying? Like, what? It's a match that Cody's going to win. Quen should look good in it. He did. But outside of that, what? You know what I'm saying? Because the match was not, it's one of those things, well, oh my God, I could have watched this for another 20 minutes. Nope, it went just long enough, and it did what it had to do, and they got out because it was starting to lose its attention span for me. You don't think it had anything to do with the fact that it was a last-minute replacement? Could it have just been that giving off that vibe? You know, it was supposed to be Ray Phoenix, and we all know Ray Phoenix is a fucking world champion caliber athlete. And maybe that's it. If you put Ray Phoenix in that match with Cody, totally different match. Ray Phoenix has way more experience than Marq Quen, and Ray Phoenix would have probably led that match, and it would have probably been a definitely a different caliber match, and definitely more exciting dealing with Ray Phoenix. Ray Phoenix is the kind of guy that can start a new match, new feud, new person, from scratch, and it could still be interesting. I think we talked about this the other night with people like Kevin Owens, things like that. You put these guys in the ring, they'll start telling the story in the match as opposed to, okay, start wrestling. Kevin will start talking to you, making gestures. He's telling his story as he goes. And Cody and Marq Quen kind of did the same thing. They did that with the leg and everything else. But all in all, this guy's in a tag team. This guy's a TV champion. He just won it. We know who's gonna win, like you said. Marq Quen felt like he was missing his tag team partner, almost like he was not as comfortable like he normally would be. And yeah, a worker like a Rey Fenix or a Pac, yeah, it would have been a much, much better match. So I think you're right. Maybe the last minute replacement kind of did it in for me a little bit. I would love to just, it was great because it was Cody's, the company I love. It was all right, but it wasn't the main event for me. Not at all.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I got that vibe as well with it just being a last minute thing, them trying to find a replacement for Rey Fenix. And then you even told me right before we actually went live, the ending of this felt a little bit rushed, and then it kind of tied into exactly what you just talked about here. The ending scene, Jake Hager come out, and Cody and Marq Quen embraced. They hugged. The respect was there. Cody said, listen, you want a title shot at Fyter Fest? You got it. You don't even have to ask, because that's exactly what he's going to do with the TNT Championship. So Cassidy, Quen, and Hardy came out. The Inner Circle tried to attack everybody here. Cassidy and Quen hit Hager with chairs. Hardy clotheslined him to the floor. Santana, Ortiz, and Guevara ran out, and a big brawl broke out. Hardy hit Guevara with a twist of fate. Cody hit Hager with a chair. Cody, then, like I said, pretty much told Hager, you want a shot? You got it. That's it. Fyter Fest. So it's a TNT Championship match already made. Cody versus Hager. Fyter Fest. He's on. And that's it. That's it. It did feel pretty rushed. It looked a little lazy. Looked a little sloppy. Not really the ideal way to go off the show. But the big announcement was Cody's defending the title against Jake Hager at Fyter Fest. And that's what we have to look forward to.
And maybe this was to a credit to AEW because, like you said, the way it went off, it felt kind of clunky, like it was rushed. It didn't really mesh a vibe. But it's a credit to them because that's not how they normally operate. So normally we would have seen that somewhere else. Like, oh, look, typical WWE stuff. They just kind of, this one's like, this is not normally like them. They usually have a nice, solid, impactful, meaningful ending to their show. This one was kind of like, hurry up, we got a 3-4 more minutes to fill. Get out there and start fighting it out, Yeah,
I did feel that. What did you think of Cody's performance tonight? Being that I just mentioned that Fyter Fest is going to be live and then taped. Did you think Cody looked a little sluggish tonight? He looked a little slower than normal because he probably wrestled before this or yesterday and then went right back at it back-to-back days. You think that is going to take a toll on them the more that they go through this taping schedule? And especially now that he's taking this title and he's going to be fucking defending it every week.
Yeah, I didn't see anything noticeable tonight as far as his stamina goes or anything like that. It was a typical Cody match. I mean, they're very slow pace with high impact spots, and it was a TV match. It was a TV main event designed and built for commercial breaks and things like that. So it wasn't like they were given 30 minutes at a pay-per-view to go at it, and this is all we got. Because at that point, I'd been like, yeah, this was kind of bad. It wasn't bad. It was a decent TV match, Like I said, I think they've kind of like raised the bar for me a little bit because I expect more because they've done more. And it does seem like this was a last minute put together. And if that's the case, if this was kind of thrown together at the last minute, then it was perfectly fine for what it was, for what we were given. I mean, I understand things don't go according to plan all the time. I get that. And you got to put something else together. And if this was thrown together, fine. It's perfectly fine. If all of this was the original plan, I would say, nah, that was kind of a sad ending to the show.
Well, we'll see what happens next week. Cody's going to be back at it. They didn't really say who he's defending the title against, but it's obviously going to happen in the main event because that's the job that he has promised he will do with the TNT Championship. So, all in all, I thought it was a very good episode of Dynamite. Jesse, your final thoughts on Dynamite before we get the hell out of here.
Dynamite is never going to do me wrong. Am I going to come out smiling and giving it a 10 out of 10 every week? No, of course not. Am I going to walk out giving it a 1? No, it's never going to get a 1 for me because these guys go out and try and they perform and they put on somewhat at least halfway decent storytelling, which is all I asked for. So I'm happy. 2 thumbs up.
There you go. As long as we don't see Charlotte Flair anywhere in the building, we're good to go on Wednesday.
Oh.
There you go. See, I'm already making him fucking get cold sweats over here. All right, guys, we're getting out of here. Thank you so very much for joining me. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. There'll be plenty of ranting on Charlotte this weekend. Believe me, I got some stories. You don't want to miss it. At JD from NY206 on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. And if you missed anything that I've uploaded on the channel, huge rant on Charlotte Flair coming out of Monday Night Raw and what WWE needs to do to book the women's division for the rest of the year. It's very simple. Just listen to me. I got the answers. Go watch the Monday Night Raw review on the channel right now. I will see you right back here with Jesse next week. So thank you guys so very much, and have a good night, buddy. I'll see you next week.
Take it easy, man. See you later.